Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Thanks for joining me. In today's video, it's going to be action-packed. I'm probably going to be working all day long, and I'm going to try to capture all of it to bring it to you. I'm going to my hunting property for the last time before archery season. It's September 21st. Archery season opens October 5th. Not going to be able to go because my youngest daughter has a dance and my wife's out of town, so I got to keep my priorities straight. So I'm going to have a couple weeks before I actually hunt the property, and I'm doing all kinds of things. I am overseeding with rye. I'm putting down urea on my brassica plots. I'm spraying 1,500 Christmas trees for weed control. In addition to that, I'm spraying deer repellent that works excellent on all my Christmas trees. This is something you could use for your plots even, or if you have any young apple trees, chestnut trees, that sort of thing. Follow along and see how I do that. Also, I have a few chestnut trees I never got around to protecting with a fence. I have some fences I made, and I'm going to put around those. So I have a ton of stuff to do in here. I'm going to get it all done. I hope to get it all done. Stick around and stay through the end and see how I do everything. I guarantee you'll get some useful tips. Before I leave the house, I'll show you what I made the fence for my chestnut trees and my apple trees out of. I used to raise deer. This whole area here used to be 8-foot high deer fence. Took it all down. So this is 8 foot tall. And what I did, I cut it in half so it's about 4 feet. And I just made it real long. So although the deer could reach their heads over it, it's going to be so long they could reach their heads over and still not browse on the chestnut. So that's what I did. I just cut those down the middle and I loaded them on my trailer under my side-by-side, and that's what I'll be using for that. Now the goal for my Christmas trees where I'm going is to get something like this. You can see I did some weed control here just recently in the rows, and that really helps them grow. These are 3 years old, but the deer ate them down to pencil size the first year before I protected them. Look at that one, that's a nice one. So what I'll be spraying is some glyphosate, which used to be the main ingredient in Roundup, some 2,4-D, and most importantly, some simazine, so I can get that months and months of protection. So next spring, it inhibits the weeds coming up. So if I can get my trees out there to look like this, I'll really be doing a good thing for the trees and be very happy. But here there's only about 150 and I have 1,500 there. So that's the goal. Now, if you're anything like me, it takes like an hour to 2 hours to load everything up because you always end up forgetting something. So I'm going to show you some of the stuff I'm bringing along. You can see this fence sticking up. So what I did, I laid it flat on the trailer, even on that end. I put the gate down. I drove my side-by-side up on top of it and then flipped the gate up, and worked pretty good. I was trying to think of a way that I was going to haul that for a long, long time. So here's some of the stuff I have. I have a battery that's going to run my ATV sprayer. I like to just use an external battery. Otherwise, it drains my battery down. Speaking of which, I have a little jump starter there. I use that all the time. Really helps out a lot. I have my earthway spreader. That is to spread the winter rye there. You can see some grains of the rye in the truck. That's what it looks like. And that's urea, 4600. That's going on the brassicas. As far as the sprayers, I have that big sprayer. That's what I'm going to use. I'm going to drive my side-by-side down the rows of Christmas trees. Put the, not the boom, but the spot spray wand down the side, and I'm going to try to spray them all at once, because before I just went down with that backpack sprayer and it took hours and hours. I'm going to try to speed things up by doing it that way. But I brought a backpack sprayer and a little sprayer to spray my deer repellent on the trees. That's called Trico Pro, and it's expensive, but it works great. And I got my tool bag with a bunch of tools in it. cut off a plastic water bottle to measure my chemicals. What else? I have a cordless drill and a mixer. I stick that inside my back or my ATV sprayer and just use the electric drill to mix up my chemicals really well. I have a weed whacker because I'm going to weed whack all around my chestnut trees because you can hardly see them. Get the weeds down. I'll spray it and then I'll put the fence up. And I brought some. I was doing some landscaping. I asked my wife to pick up some pegs. She got the wrong ones, and just had them laying around. So pegs to somehow secure this fence down around the chestnut trees. I'm going to use the pegs and then some electric wire ties. So I'm all loaded up. Hopefully I didn't forget everything, and I'll meet you out there and we can start. Okay guys, so I just sprayed all my rows of my Christmas trees, and I didn't record it because I thought my sprayer was leaking a little bit and I didn't want to slow myself down. But basically, you can see, you're looking at me in my side by side. I have my wand here, which I ran over at one point. But my sprayer's in the back. I just hold my wand in my left hand, and as I go, I spray between each Christmas tree, maybe this wide or so. Now I'm using like a cone nozzle. It'd be better if I had like a fan nozzle, something straight I could control more. And then when I get to the tree, I'm just kind of going around the tree the best I can. Now you can't do this any time of the year. You got to make sure that the trees are hardened off if they're conifers. So by this time of the year, mine should be. I know I got some of the spray on the tree, but I tried to avoid it as much as possible. So I can try to angle the camera around, kind of show you what I mean. I'm not sure how good the footage will be. If it's decent, I'll include it. If not, that's a good explanation of what I've been doing. So pretty much I just go down the row like this. I'm spraying between them. When I get to a little tree, I go around it, go down to the next one. They're only 5.5 feet apart. Go around it, go around it. Some of them are hard to see because of the weed control, but that's basically how I did that. 1,500 trees, went down each row, and did it the best I could. Hopefully they'll turn out like my ones at home. The next thing I want to show you is what I spray on my trees to keep the deer from damaging them. Now it's the 21st of September, and I counted about 20 that the deer rubbed already. And if untreated, not only will they rub little Christmas trees, but they'll eat them. They can eat them. They can eat thousands down to the size of your finger. So I've gone through that one year. I sprayed last year. I had good success. So I just sprayed again, but earlier. Usually I wait for like a warm day in like November so I can get late in the year. But this stuff lasts, I didn't read the label just now, but when I was researching it, lasts like 6 months or something. So you could apply this to any small tree that you have in your food plots or in your habitat plan, wherever, and keep the deer from browsing them. It's called Trico Pro. I don't know if you can read that or not. It's relatively new, even in the Christmas tree industry. I think it's made overseas. This jug is 2.5 gallons, and it's nearly $300. But before you lose your mind, I've done 3,000 trees with it, and I still have about 3/4 of a gallon left. So you just spritz the tree. You just put just the littlest, tiniest amount. I put it right on top on the leader, and that's good enough. I'll show you here. I know the shadow's in the way from my side-by-side. There's a good little transplant right here. I've done all these already, but all I would do is get my backpack sprayer nice and pumped up, which it is, and literally this is it. Ready? That's it. Just one little quick squirt, maybe 1/10 of a second, and move on to the next one. And believe it or not, that's enough to keep the deer from browsing my trees. The first year I had every tree browsed down and lost a lot of them. 2 years later, some of them grew back, but last year I sprayed them and I didn't have browse damage on one tree, not one. So I'm going to put this on my apple trees. I do have a small fence around them, but it's too narrow. They can still get at. So I'm going to go spray those apple trees real quick. And then I'm going to make the cages for my chestnuts, some bigger cages so they can't reach their heads in. So thankfully, all the tree stuff is done. 1,500 trees taken care of for this year. On to the fun stuff for the deer. Here is my one brassica plot, the smaller plot. You can see the siren's going to go off. I better make it quick. Fantastic growth. They're huge. While I was spraying my trees over here, I decided to spray some of that Trico Pro on just this little corner right here. So it'll be interesting. Sorry about that siren. It'll be interesting to see what happens that little corner. I didn't want to spray it on the whole plot, obviously, because it can last 6 months, but little experiment. Well, daylight's running out on me, but I did get all my trees sprayed, and I want to get these around my chestnut trees, and maybe I'll spread my urea and rye in the dark. But what I was talking about earlier, you just want to make these a little bigger than you think. I don't know how far across this is. I would say about 4.5 feet. That way, you really don't have to be as high, because if the deer get right here, they still can't reach the tree. So this is just old deer fence I had. I cut it and I left it long on one side. So I'll just take these and wrap them around every so often. Doesn't have to be anything, you know, you don't have to be a fence maker to do this. And you can even leave the points out. So if they come up against it, they feel that point. And I don't do them all. I'm just going to do a few, just enough to hold it together. And that's it. Then I have some pegs that I brought. I'll put those in the ground. And I also left the bottom long too, so you can push this part in the ground. And I'll wire tie it, get it up there in place somehow. But it's very simple. But you got to protect your trees one way or another. You can use that stuff that I showed you, which is the spray, but a lot of people aren't going to buy that $300 jug, and you can just get some fence and do something like this yourself. I have 3 of these to make, and just saw me do one real quick, do the other 3, and we'll get those installed. Well, my phone's about to die, but this is what the cages look like. Put 3 of those in for my chestnuts. Last year they got eaten down, but resprouted, thankfully. So that should keep the deer out of them. And hopefully the deer focus on this plot instead. Well, it's the next day. I didn't get everything done that I set out to do, but I actually got more done than I expected. I came out here today, went to start my side-by-side, and it would hardly turn over. So, showed you all the stuff I brought with me in my truck. Got the trusty old jump starter down here. We'll get it jump started and get back to work. Okay, I'm all finished. Letting the missus drive back, learning her how to drive. I did everything I need to do. I won't be here until October 12th. So cleared out a cleared out a few shooting lanes, access to my tree. I think I'm gonna die before I get back. Put that exclusion cage in, got all my trees sprayed, fertilizer down, winter rye down. Everything's good. So thanks for joining me. Good luck when your opener starts up. Pennsylvania, like I said, it's the 5th. I won't be able to go because my 2 daughters have a dance, but I'll be out either that week, during the weekday, during that week, or I'll be out on the next Saturday. So good luck. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.